man? It's your boy Kloth, and I'm back with another video, man. Looking for my starting somewhere. I am simply not going anywhere. And this gonna be another segment of Kloth Talk. Now again, Kloth Talk is just where I talk about the trending topics in streetwear and sneakers, and I bring people on those same passions. Look, we get very close to it. They typically say most podcasts don't make it past their 30th episode. About 70% or so, something like that. This is episode 49, and I'm still going strong. Now, episode 50, I'm definitely gonna celebrate it. I kind of want it to be like a different vibe. I don't know what I'm gonna do just yet, but I really want episode 50 to be special. I feel like that's a milestone. I've been doing this, grinding. Y'all done seen 3 apartments at this point. I've moved 3 times since I started Kloth Talk. And it's only progressed. I had a lot of great guests, had a lot of great conversation. That's what I really want to continue to do with Kloth Talk. At the end of the day, Kloth Talk is just where I like to just have great conversations with people, whether it be, mutuals that I have on social media, people that I admire within the industry, whether it be sneakers, streetwear, fashion, whatever the case may be. Like, I just really like having conversations with people, because that is how we keep this thing that we love, this thing that we would consider our baby, this culture, this thing. That is how we keep this alive, is about having meaningful conversations and just constantly talking about it, how to improve it, what's not working, and we just keep progressing forward. So again, Kloth Talk, again, I could never thank y'all enough for tuning into these, bro. It's been able to let me talk to people that I never thought I would have the chance to talk to. And we just gonna keep growing, family. So I'm not gonna waste no more time. Let's just go ahead and jump into these articles. All right, so this article title reads, Beams Plus and RRL revive the 1944 model denim jacket and jeans. The 2 World War II era models are made in the US and reprised with original details like the T-back construction and selvage denim. Now, there's a lot of conversation, especially just in the ecosystem of, collabs, whether it be with fashion and sneakers. What makes a good collab? And I think it's when 2 brands who have basically the same brand identity, but they do it in just their own different interpretation, and they bring it together to make something that's really cohesive. To me, that's what makes a great collab. There's a multitude of other things that make a great collab, but truthfully, when 2 brands such as Beams Plus that has a really strong brand identity attached to Japanese Americana, American fashion in the 1970s and 80s, and Ralph Lauren, RRL, which is a staple, Ralph Lauren is basically US fashion at this point, whether it be teaming up with the Olympics, different labels, Polo, Purple Label, RRL, and everything that encompasses under the, family name of Ralph Lauren. Ralph Lauren really is that thing for the US. And I feel like all the things that branched out, such as brands like Wyatt and other people who've worked for Ralph Lauren, who started their own thing. Again, Ralph Lauren is just that thing. When those 2 brands come together that have such a strong, brand identity, that is what I like about great collabs. Because if you're into fashion, you look at these 2 things and you look at the product, it just makes sense. It just truthfully makes sense. When I look at this type 1 jacket, which I love type 1 jackets. I got type 1s and type 2s in my closet. But a good type 1, you just simply can't beat that. You want to talk about a piece that can last in your closet for a very long time. Something that won't ever go out of style, because truthfully, even just the type 1 by itself, but also paired with another pair of jeans to make a Canadian tuxedo, that has been around for forever, bro. 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2010s, 2020, the denim tuxedo is not going anywhere. And I feel like them pieces by themselves, good pairs of jeans are not going anywhere. Good denim jackets are just simply not going anywhere. So let's actually talk about this collab and my thoughts. Now, as I just take a look at this type 1 jacket, just knowing who RRL is, and then also just knowing who Beams Plus is, I know this thing is going to feel amazing. Now, something that's not mentioned in this article is the actual weight of this. Is it more so a 12-ounce denim, or is it a little bit more structured? To me, based on these pictures, it looks like it's going to be something between 15 and down, let's say. I think more so in that 12-ounce. It may potentially even be 8, but if I had to be a betting man, I would say 12. And also, if you do want to get this collab, it's already been released. I think it dropped on February 7th. So it is out there in the public. I can imagine that the resale prices for something such as a RRL piece by itself, the resale prices are pretty high. Beams, not so much. but a collaboration or a collaborative piece is definitely going to resell for a lot. Now, as I just scroll to the bottom of this article, I can see that this jacket went for $946. Ah, shit. Listen, man, your boy Kloth ain't got it, but I respect it though. I feel like, truthfully though, this is one of those things where it's like, if you got it, get it. But if you don't got it, don't feel bad about it, because you can find great type 1 jackets, type 2 jackets for a great price on Depop and Grill. You don't need to drop 9 something on a collab piece when you can get something basically similar for maybe like $500 less, truthfully. Like, again, if you got it, perfect. If you don't, that is perfectly fine too. You don't need to break the bank for something such as this, because again, type 1 jackets, type 2 jackets, denim sets have always been a part of like American culture, especially Japanese culture. So it's like, you don't need to break the bank on this. So again, that price tag, I'm probably not gonna get it. But again though, as I just look more at some of these detail shots, I can tell the craftsmanship is there. A lot of time spent on these. I'm sure they didn't do like a big batch on these either. So I'm sure their numbers were limited as well. So like, again, this is just gonna be a great piece, and it may potentially go into like something that like down the line, once people have kind of forgotten about it, maybe, you know, for a time period, denim sets have kind of like phase out of style. I might pique this interest to like want to buy it, but as it stands right now, like, it's dope. I like to look at it, but I'm gonna move on. Now, something that I do love that they did, they went with the vintage 5-pocket look instead of like some of like RRL's other profile for pants that they do, such as like their slim fit jean or some of their more tapered jeans. Like, I'm glad they went with the vintage 5-pocket look, because it's like more modern. Like, it's more like, it's being aware of like what's currently trending, you know, like skinny or slim jeans, although they are slowly making a way back, slim, straight, and baggy still rule supreme. I don't think that's necessarily gonna phase out until like the next like 3 years. I give extremely baggy and baggy bottoms 3 more years before people are phasing back into wearing something a little bit more straight, going back into like the more slimmer looks. I don't know why. I just feel like baggy has run its course. Not saying like people aren't gonna rock it, but it won't be as prevalent. Cause like, if you are into fashion, into streetwear, and you go to your Explore page, I can imagine your Explore page is gonna see somebody rocking some baggy jeans, some barrel jeans, something like just really big. And I can guarantee you that's what your Explore page looks like. No one's really rocking slim taper right now at the moment in mass. But again, I'm glad that they went with the vintage 5-pocket, because I've had the chance to like try on a pair of like vintage 5-pocket jeans from RRL, and those fit very true to like that straight cut, like straight, no break in it, just straight up and down. And I think that's gonna benefit them well with this look overall. Now, a conversation I do wanna have, because as we're living in this time where basically the creator slash designer slash brand collaboration space makes up a great deal of like most fashion brands thing. Like, you know, if you're into sneakers, you know, back then, like, let's say 2008, let's say even 2010 and down, getting a sneaker collab was a big thing. There were maybe in a full calendar year, there are max, I'm talking max 20 to 30 collabs. Let's say for like a brand like Nike, you know, like max. A lot of brands weren't doing a lot of collabs. And even if you knew somebody that worked at the company and you have a proven track record of, you know, creating a great silhouette, great colorways, all that stuff, you still weren't able to get a collab. Collabs now are very much so frequent. It's almost weekly there's a new collab with a new celebrity, new designer, new fashion brand. Like, collabs are so frequent. And I sit back and wonder, like, where would today's sneaker market, streetwear market, and fashion market be if they were still as conservative with giving collabs as they were, let's say, 2010 down? Because a lot of brands could stand by themselves and they didn't need a collab. A collab wasn't needed. A collab was like, we'll do it, but this is gonna be one time. Like, they weren't as prevalent. And I almost think about it in the sense, like, if you pay attention to like the stock market at all, and how like companies like Nvidia, Google, Apple, even though it's not a publicly traded company, OpenAI, how they're all investing money into each other. Like, it makes me think, where would this economy, because really the US economy is really dependent on these 6 to 7 companies to really perform and push the GDP forward. So like, I think about if sneaker streetwear fashion, if they were more conservative about their collabs, where would those companies necessarily be right now if they were way more conservative about their collabs? I think, you know, I'm not gonna name any brands because I don't wanna like single out one brand in particular. But like, you know, I think of like companies like Gap, let's say. Gap has been around for a very long time, but as we enter this new market of like a lot of people starting their own brands, people shopping more indie brands, you kind of get pushed out of like what's currently going on. So then they latched on to like a, you know, a Kanye, and then, you know, that obviously brings some, you know, excitement around the brand again, but then obviously that falls through. And now I can't say necessarily there's like an excitement around Gap, but like, I'm sure that hurt not having that collaborative space anymore. So it's like just imagine if Nike Jordan brand never collabed with Virgil. Or imagine if New Balance in like that 2020, 2021, when New Balance was really taking off, if they never collab with ALD. Or like, you know, all these other people such as like a Salehi, a J-Tips Rasakani, and, you know, Joe Fresh Good. Like, if these people had not brought their talent to these companies, I sit back and wonder, where would these companies be? Not saying they would be hurting, obsolete, off the map. Of course, I'm not saying that, but I do just wonder, where would they be? Because a lot of these people were very instrumental to the success of this company. So again, I don't know. It's just very interesting. It makes me think, like, you know, leave a comment below. What do you think currently, like let me pose that question. Where do you think the sneaker market and streetwear market, where would they be if they were way more conservative, like 2010 down conservative about their partnerships? I feel like that's a very interesting question because like I see every week, every single day, there's a new article about we're partnering with this company, we're partnering with this brand, we're partnering with this creator, we're partnering with this designer, we're partnering. And it's like, you almost don't really see too many like just standalone things. Like we stand alone, we're building our own thing. We don't necessarily need a collab. And I don't know, like, I'm not saying that's a good or a bad thing, but it is just very interesting given that I've been paying attention to like streetwear, sneakers since I was like in middle school per se. I wasn't heavily invested into it until I graduated college. And like, even from graduating in college in 2019, I've seen the space boom. Like that pandemic era really showed like, we need collabs, we need new creators, we need new designers. So it's just very interesting. Just to pose a question. But overall though, this Beans Plus RRL collab, flawless. Two brands that I love, two brands that have a really strong brand identity, two brands that put out a lot of great work. And I think this is dope. But again, almost $1,000 for a type 1 and then almost $700 for a pair of jeans. I'll just go get there somewhere else. But let's just go ahead and jump into this next article. All right, so this article title reads, Thom Browne embraces athletic elegance with debut Asics Gel Keanu 14 collaboration. I'ma just keep it above. And it's probably not gonna be the most popular answer. I've seen a lot of people talk about this and I get it. Luxury fashion house, Asics, I love Asics. Some of my, like literally one of my favorite pairs of sneakers in my closet is a pair of Asics from Kiko. Like if my house was burning down and I was like, I could only grab 3, I'm making sure I grab that one for sure. I get the hype around it. Fashion house, sneaker brand, Asics has been, you know, doing a lot of great things. I get that. But something in me, I just gotta keep it real. I just can't be a part of what everybody else said. These are not great. Just keep it real. These are not great sneakers. And I feel like just given what sneakers that I naturally just gravitate to, I can see why. So I'm not saying everybody has to have this, like everyone doesn't have to have this opinion. That's cool. I'm perfectly fine standing alone on this boat, but I would die on this boat. These sneakers, snooze fest, yawning, tired, like sleep, Percocets, ZZ Quill, nighttime. Like I truthfully can care less. And honestly, that helps you. If you're the person out there watching this, if you're the person out there watching this, that this is everything to you, this is what you've been waiting for from Asics, great for you, I'm happy for you, like go get those sneakers. I'm not entering the pool for these. I don't care how much they resell for. They're just not exciting, bro. Like I get the inside detail with like, you know, the little stripes with the red, like that's cool. That's a standout thing. They're not doing the Jown thing where they just put their name on it. They're at least taking some further steps to kind of make it a little bit more elevated. But truthfully, at the end of the day, these are not good to me. They're good. They're not great to me. I won't do that. So I can identify that these sneakers are dope overall. I like the Gel Keanu 14 too. That's an overall fire silhouette. That's one of their strongest silhouettes from, you know, Asics. This is just not doing it for me. Like I'm cool, bro. Like these are okay. Now, some may say I sound like a hypocrite because I've said on multiple occasions, I feel like CDG is probably one of like Nike's quietest, greatest collaborators. CDG does some great things when it comes to Nike shoes. Now you can say, Greg, all they do is white, black, and gray, bro. They ain't really doing something too exciting. But every once in a while, they do something like this. The Foamposite, the Olympic, multi-colored, so black, gray, white, Foamposite, even the Nike Sunder, still a great collab. So I like, again, this is the perfect thing about having your own opinion. I can have that opinion. It is what it is. But again, the Thom Browne Asics Gel Keanu 14, I can understand the hype around it. Fashion house brand, collaborating with a sneaker company. I'm all for that. I just wish they would have did just like, given who Thom Browne is, they could have just did a little bit more. Just a tad bit, just a little bit. Like y'all had a little bit more in y'all. And I'm not saying y'all took the easy way out. I just feel like there's something missing from it. That's all I'm saying. There's something missing from it. Still, overall, I'm sure this may pique the interest of a lot of people, and Asics and Thom Browne may see like, okay, we got something here, and they do more collabs. I'm not sure if this is their first one. I think this is their first one. Like just from the comments I've been able to read on Instagram, like a lot of people like these. So I'm not saying anything to like try to change anybody's opinion. This is just my opinion solely. But again, let me know what y'all think, but let's move to that next article. All right, so this article title reads, "The Pankou button is everywhere and is ruling the runway. The ancient Chinese design closure is being reimagined by Asian designers and adapted by Western brands. Why now?" I have seen this jacket so much, whether it be just in my normal feed, whether it be on my Explore page, people talking about it in YouTube videos. I've seen this Pankou style jacket, more specifically the Pankou style jacket that Adidas did, where it has like that button closure. I've seen that so much. And I've seen the crazy people in the West, like in the US, you know, saying like, you know, who can proxy me a jacket, and like people, you know, where they released it. Cause I don't know necessarily where exactly. I think it was like in more in like the UK and Asia, but like, you know, them saying like, you know, they want to sell to people in the US. I've seen a lot of conversation around this. I'm going to keep this as truthful as possible, being that I'm in the US. This trend, I'm talking only in the US, this trend is gonna last maybe this year, 2026, and people will be back to like buttons and zippers and all that. Like, I'm not saying that this isn't cool. I'm not saying this is dope. I think it's a very unique interpretation on traditional like jackets, such as like denim or, you know, long coats or track jackets. Like, I like it. I think it's very dope. But I think what a lot of people are experiencing right now is the main group of people who are consuming high volumes of like fashion are people who are necessarily still trying to figure out what their identity or what their style is. So that's like, let's say the crowd from the age of 20 up until like 25. I would say those are like the main consumers of like most of what's going on in the world of fashion right now. And I think once people get past the age of 25 upwards into like their 30s, they kind of just want to go back to like legacy, traditional, standard. Like they don't want to be as experimental, and even if they do, it's like one piece in particular. So that's why I necessarily say it's not gonna live so long, especially or more specifically in the US. A lot of people want it now, people rocking it now. I think that's gonna, they're gonna garner a lot of success in 2026. Are like the Pankou style jackets or pieces are gonna, have a boom in 2026. But I think 2026 and past that, like going into 2027, 2028, I don't think people are necessarily gonna be as crazy about that. Now, for other parts of this world where this is just a traditional piece of clothing, whether it be, something such as like traditional wear, like with workwear, or, I think even somewhere they're saying like, firemen in certain, countries kind of wear something like similar to this. Like, I think it's going to do well in overseas markets, Asia, the UK, and places like that. But when it comes to the US, I don't think this is going to last past 2026. I could be wrong. I could be very wrong about this, but I just don't personally see it. I think just like from what my interpretation of like what most people in America like, is not gonna be this. It's gonna be something that people rock now, and then down the line, they go back to traditional buttons or zippers. That's just my take. Again, I'm always open to hear what you guys think of this, trend, and like, having a conversation, because we all interpret everything different. I'm going into my 30s. I'm 29 now, I'm going into my 30s. And the way I look at fashion now compared to what I looked at fashion like when I was 20, 21, 22, it's completely different, vastly different. It's night and day. So again, as people get older, you start viewing things a little bit different. So again, curious, what do you guys think? Leave your comments below. But that is gonna wrap up this Kloth Talk. Again, episode 49. We're on the way to 50. I gotta make 50 special somehow. I'm just trying to figure out how I'm gonna do that. If you are somebody who wants to participate in the Kloth Talk, I wanna do another subscribers Kloth Talk. Last time I had 4 people on. One person was able to, we were able to talk about one article, then we move to the next article and talk about with the next person. If you wanna be a part of that, shoot me a DM on Instagram or comment below that you want to be a part of it. I always like talking to my community as well. But without further ado, like I always do, I will catch y'all in that next one.
But I love the way you work it. Hey, I love the way you work it for me.